It's turned on.
Isn't that policy?
No.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
No. It could be manually activated or when you turn the overhead.
Okay,
lights
so
on.
my question is when I refuse to talk to the officer, that's my right there.
You weren't under arrest.
That only counts in criminal charges and criminal investigations.
No, if you're stopped by police and you
No,
haven't.
you asked a question, that is the answer.
You weren't under arrest.
Pepper spray.
You were not under investigative detention.
Right, but if an officer stops me, I have the right to not speak to that officer.
But you are still required to identify yourself when we're currently conducting an investigation.
You had my ID.
Not until after we...
No, no.
We're not going to argue this, okay? That is the answer.
So the pepper spray is gone, right? Is that what y'all are saying? 'Cause
As far as I
actually,
know, it's putting the person handing
her
back to
son's
you.
actually
I
got
watched
on
the cop
video.
take it out of the purse and walk to the other. Huh?
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Yeah, he
He
did.
was there on the scene.
He didn't put it. Yeah, he didn't put it back in my
Yeah,
purse.
we
He handed
actually
my
got
son
on
the purse
video
and he
that
walked
it
away
came
with the
out.
pepper spray in his hands.
Well, I will ask
We're
the
just saying it
officer.
somehow got lost.
So I gotta come back.
It was $57 and she never used it.
Well, either that, is Cox working today?
He is. I will ask him when he comes in.
Yeah,
If you want to
we're
sit
just
here
looking
about,
for that.
if you want to sit here about 20 more minutes, he'll be in.
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
looking for the pepper spray.
Okay.
You know, she needs that.
But I was under the impression that anytime you're approached by a cop, unless I've committed a crime or about to commit a crime, I don't have to answer questions.
Well, you don't
It
have
depends
to.
on the nature of the
should
call.
pretend
In
to
this
be
call, we were
Vanessa.
told you were suicidal.
But
Let me finish.
Okay.
We were told that you were suicidal. We have to make positive identification in that case, okay?
Exactly.
By letter of the law, by requirement of law, you were required to give your name and your date of birth to an officer upon their lawful request, which he had a lawful request. You are not required to answer any questions, you're not required to say anything else, but you are required by law to give your name and your date of birth.
He never asked me my name.
Yes.
No, he didn't. He did not ask me my name, my ID, because I'll give that to you.
Okay.
I have no problem giving any information to
Well,
you.
we kind of already knew who you were too because he had called in.
See, he just told you what you just said. You didn't know who I was,
But if the
but he
officer-
already knew.
If
So
the
that-
officer
Do you
asked
argue or
you-
do you want a question answered?
No, just answer the question. I mean, I don't argue.
No, I'm just saying what he
Are you
says.
going to be sitting here waiting for Officer Cox to come in or no?
Yeah.
Have a
You
seat.
do understand that everything that was done that day was
Legal and lawful.
no, but well, it was that. But it was also to ensure your well-being and make sure you didn't hurt yourself.
But
Everything that was done
when I had my hands up and he took my gun, I told him my gun was not loaded, and it wasn't.
Okay, we
And-
can't take your word for that.
Okay, he doesn't have my gun away. I still don't see the need. If you're trying to prevent somebody from being suicidal, for one, if I'm asking you questions of why I'm being detained, and he never said.
There are more important things he has to deal with, like the fact you have a gun on you. Okay?
But
He
I've
has to
carried a
protect
gun
himself.
for a year, and
He has to protect himself. And when you reach into your bag, after being belligerent with him, he has to take steps to keep himself safe.
I told him I was getting my phone to record the conversation.
Okay? And we can't take your word for that. Safety is the first and most important law on the street.
But if I haven't committed a crime, you can't prevent me from being in my purse and
But
my.
he can take steps to protect himself, which is what he did.
And he could have said, ma'am, no. But he didn't do that. He just tackled me. I mean, it's kind of excessive force, in my opinion.
Not in our opinion.
Well, he also had
Once I'm disarmed, I'm still a threat.
Yes,
a threat to yourself.
and to us.
If you've got my gun and you're standing in front of me, how am I a threat?
You know how many disarmed people I've seen hurt police officers over the years? Hurt them bad? Hurt them to the point where they have to have days off and get retired?
I don't know, man. I used to back the blue. And just to have one bad cop on your thing that just showed excessive force, and when I questioned him and he didn't answer my questions, he took away my rights, and that's how I feel. Now I've talked to another cop and he told me another perspective, but that still doesn't change the fact that it was handled wrong.
You guys go home, I'll call you.
I do not agree with your opinion.
No, I understand, and that's why I'm saying communication. First of all, if someone's suicidal, I have one question. If I'm suicidal and I had a gun on my hip, which I've had for a while. I had another gun that I carried all the time too. For the simple fact that I got jumped in my yard and none of them were arrested for coming on my property and trying to jump me. So I got me a gun. It's my protection. Never in my life would I do anything to harm a police officer when they're trying to do their job.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. Do you know the officer?
No, I
You ever met him
don't.
before?
No,
Has he ever met you?
not,
Does he know you?
I have no idea.
So he has no idea. If
I've
you're
had
gonna-
interaction-
listen to me. He has no idea if you're gonna hurt him. He has no idea if you're gonna hurt yourself. He has no idea if you're gonna hurt somebody else. And in these kind of situations, a tenth of a second can mean the difference between me going home or him going home or not going home.
But let me ask
And
you
in those
this.
cases,
Let me
he
ask-
has to take the steps to prevent you from hurting yourself, hurting him, and hurting somebody else.
I understand that, but if I'm suicidal and you jump out with a gun at me, which is what he did, he didn't have his taser, he had his gun at me. If I'm suicidal and I would have act like I was going to run at him, if I'm suicidal, here's what I'm trying to get a point across. If someone's suicidal, you guys need more precautions. You don't jump out with a gun on someone that is or possibly is suicidal. And until you figure out if I am or if I ain't, to take me down and be that and then put a 72-hour hold on me, when I told him and I talked to that Venomir, she knew who I was. She arrived on the scene too late. She didn't know anything that happened. She got there to transport me. She knew me. She knew I had a gun. She knew I always carried a gun. I've had several interactions with a lot of the other officers.
Okay.
But I'm saying, until you have to assess the situation. You can't just jump out of your car and pull a gun. I had my hands like this, and I told him, I said, that's fine. If you want to talk to me, I'm going to get my phone and record
That's
this.
not what the report reflects at all.
That's what I'm saying. He's not putting anything in that I said. He also didn't put in there that I said my
You're
gun.
calling my officer a liar.
Yeah, he falsified the report. And would you like me to show you how many are in there?
No,
I mean,
I don't.
that's why I think you guys should all get body cameras.
Probably saw birch on there.
Well, when they have the funding for it, maybe we can.
All said, I'm going to figure out how to set up a GoFundMe account. Can you give me an average of what it costs and how many officers need body cameras?
No, I cannot. You'd have to talk to our administration about it.
Yeah, that's administration.
I'm going to set up a
They're gonna
Go.
call
I'm gonna
us.
call him.
They're gonna
I've got
call.
his number, I'm gonna call him as soon as I find out about that.
Yeah, they're gonna get the pepper spray gun.
But yeah, I mean,
Thank you, guys.
nope.